I know, right? I mean, I have to say, Karen DuPeach, our wonderful makeup artist, when the earthquake was happening, she put her coat on and she was like, Jesus is coming. I'm out. I'm leaving. We've got a solar eclipse. We've got the earthquake. Ran down the hallway.
Their brains are small. But who's the dumbest one of all? True, none of them are in Mensa, but who's the most densa? Perhaps it's Sonny who mastered the art of making idiots look smart. Now the View could ask a mirror who's the dumbest one of all, but there's no way that...
One host made a mistake by not checking the facts before sharing someone's private story on live TV. And now the panel is diving into one of their usual hot topics, race and history. Things really took a turn when Sonny Hostin jumped in. She often brings up America's past wrongs, talks about racism, and holds today's people accountable for old injustices, painting privilege with a very broad brush.
I know, right? I mean, I have to say, Karen DuPeach, our wonderful makeup artist, when the earthquake was happening, she put her coat on and she was like, Jesus is coming. I'm out. I'm leaving. We've got a solar eclipse. We've got the earthquake. Ran down the hallway. The rapture is here. Rapture's here. And then also I learned that cicadas are coming. Cicadas. Oh, I love for the first time in like 100 years. No. For the first time in many, many years.
No, every 17 years this happens.
Well, that's not what I read, but maybe, maybe we know better. All those things together, what maybe lead one to believe that, either climate change exists, or something is turning.
Earthquakes are not at the mercy of climate change. It's underground. It happens in the eclipse. They've known about the eclipse coming because eclipses happen, and they actually can say when.
The biggest shock of the night came when he leaned forward and reminded Sonny that, based on new reports, her own ancestors had once owned slaves. Even Joy Behar, who usually supports everything Sonny says, looked uncomfortable. The crowd reacted loudly, and for once, even Whoopi had nothing to say. Sonny rarely double-checks her facts, and even when she does, it doesn't happen often.
It's not what I read. The true sign of the apocalypse is someone that dumb has a law degree. Worse, if your name has the word son in it, there's no excuse for not knowing how an eclipse works. But it's no surprise that Joy is the one who understands science. She's been on the science diet for years. They're turning on me. So that makes Sonny Hostin, who thinks climate change caused the solar eclipse, the dumbest of them all. Because everyone knows the moon caused the eclipse, which is controlled by the View's gravitational pull. All right, Kat, did you ever see such a group? It's amazing how Joy and Whoopi became the smart ones.
Oh, you know what? Whoopi, she thought like either the Nazis thought the Jews were a race or were in a race. I'm not sure what she thought. And I thought, this new one was Sonny, pretty dumb. And then Joey Behar in her own echo chamber. I'm going to say the dumbest people who still watch the show.
Yes.
The whole audience clapped by the
audience. Whoopi, no. She's funny, right?
No.
Oh, okay. I was trying to find some kind of redeeming thing to say about The View, and you could see right through me.
Well, at least Joy and Whoopi were fact-checking this time around. That was surprising, a pleasant one.
Yeah, it was.
Sonny looked surprised and tried to downplay it, but the hosts kept pressing her.
Hostin's obsession with race gets thrown back in her face. Today's video comes to us from Sonny Hostin. Sounds like a town. Read Sonny Hostin. She was on PBS's Finding Your Roots, a show dedicated to researching celebrity ancestry. For context, Sonny is a staunch supporter of reparations and has made a fortune spewing nonsense about white privilege and racial justice. Well, turns out she's not as oppressed as she claims she is. She's actually the descendant of slave owners from Europe. Here's how she took the news. Roll it.
Wow. I'm a little bit in shock. I just always thought of myself as Puerto Rican, half Puerto Rican. I didn't think I was, my family was originally from Spain and slaveholders.
Yeah. So how are you feeling, my friend?
I think it's actually pretty interesting that my husband and I have shared roots.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that. And I think it's great for our children to know this information. I guess it's a fact of life that this is how some people made their living, on the backs of others.
Fact of life. Interesting change of tune. For more, we go to our chief Sunny Hostin correspondent for...
Just when it seemed like things couldn't get any more uncomfortable, Gutfeld hit her with another harsh joke. The irony was heavy. She's known for calling others out, but when her own past came up, she suddenly wanted to change the subject and move on.
Lou, is this karma or what?
Well, first, I just want to go on the record to let everyone know that I am very much against slavery. Very brave to say that on this panel. Karma, definitely. I mean, it's one thing. It's going to be so awkward on new episodes of The View when she tries to pull the race card.
Yes.
And then she's like, America is racist. And then they're like, yeah, they might be racist, but they're not like slave owner racist. like somebody that we...
That's so true. Oh, I'm gonna milk this till the end of time.
Yeah.
You're right. Anytime she says something stupid, I'm gonna go, slave owner. Kat, I just watched that. That's the second time I've watched that. She was tipped off beforehand, right? Because they had to tell her before, so she had time to regroup. They wouldn't just surprise. You think? No.
Sunny Hostin, a co-host on ABC's The View, recently faced significant backlash after discovering her ancestors were involved in the slave trade. This revelation came during her appearance on the PBS series Finding Your Roots, where she learned that her fourth great-grandfather was a Spanish merchant who likely owned at least one enslaved person. Hostin, known for her outspoken views on racial justice and reparations, expressed shock and disappointment upon learning about her family's past. Despite this, she maintained her stance on reparations, stating, "I still believe in reparations." The revelation sparked criticism, with some accusing Hostin of
shaming descendants of this. Will she continue to do that when she is now one of them, Dana? And it is funny. She is so wrapped up in identity, and she had no idea who she was.
For me, the most shocking thing about the conversation was how truly boring it was. They're like, well, the cicadas, they're cicadas. Okay, but it was like every 100 years. No, it's every 17 years. Do you know how many Emmys this show has? 31.
31 Emmys?
This show has 31. I mean, I'd hate to see the conversations that don't make headlines. What?
And we don't have a single
Not a single
we don't
one.
have a, what does that tell you about the Emmys, Kat? Yes, thank you, Mr. Boo. Give that man a free cup of water. Charlie.
hypocrisy for advocating reparations while descending from slave owners. Fox News host Greg Gutfeld publicly called out Hostin, leading to a tense exchange that garnered widespread attention. The controversy contributed to a decline in The View's ratings, prompting ABC to consider changes to the show's lineup. Reports indicate that Hostin's salary was reduced by $3 million amid the fallout. Hostin's situation highlights the complexities of personal history intersecting with public.
He's so close.
What's the chart? Have you ever been on The View?
I have many. I think when was Barbara
Walters.
She still on it back then?
Yeah, she was on it even after she died.
I remember I was on The View, and I don't know what whore I was playing at the time. The movie, I remember I took off her shoe just as a joke, to kind of do something. And her foot, ooh, that was a mistake. Oh my God. It was kind of, every toe had its own, God rest her soul.
Yes.
Well, I don't know.
Public
know who's
advocacy.
dumber, to be honest.
While she continues to champion racial justice, the revelations about her ancestry have led to increased scrutiny and debate over her position on the show. As The View navigates this challenging period, the future of Hostin's role remains uncertain.
What is the show prep? They just go, go! Is that the pre-show? Like, what was that? I didn't realize until I started talking that all happened on the air. Yeah. I thought it was just like a behind-the-scenes disaster. Yeah, that was crazy. And we can disagree, Greg.
The incident underscores the importance of transparency and consistency in public discourse, especially on sensitive topics like race and historical accountability. Right now, The View is going through one of the biggest challenges it's ever.
She could have maybe done better. Okay, here's the thing. One thing, and I would have even actually not give her any, is she said, well, I guess that's just what like they did back then.
Yeah.
She should have followed that up with saying something along the lines of, and I understand that that's a departure from the way I've talked about this before. That was like, to me, the one thing that was missing.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like, okay, now that you have this information, have you had any personal growth? Do you think about things differently? You have to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Because when you present with information, it's okay to change your mind. It's good to change your mind. But you should acknowledge that is.
Yep, exactly, because if she is shaming descendants of this, will she continue to do that when she is now one of them, Dana? And it is funny. She's so wrapped up in identity and she had no idea who she was.
Well, now we understand why she always makes Whoopi get the coffee.
Faced, the question on everyone's mind is, will the producers shake things up to protect the show's reputation? Or will they stay the course and hope this storm passes?
Oh. That's not what I read. The true sign of the apocalypse is someone that dumb has a law degree. Worse, if your name has the word sun in it, there's no excuse for not knowing how an eclipse works. But it's no surprise that Joy is the one who understands science. She's been on the science diet for years. Oh. They're turning on me. So that makes Sunny Hostin, who thinks climate change caused the solar eclipse, the dumbest of them all. Because everyone knows the moon caused the eclipse, which is controlled by the View's gravitational pull. All right, Kat, did you ever see such a group? It's amazing how Joy and Whoopi became this.
People are watching closely to see if Sunny Hostin, one of the show's most outspoken hosts, will tone down her commentary or double down on her views despite all the backlash. Some folks...
Good. Let them all... You know, I'd like to see on the View, but would be like Roseanne and like Candace right out of the gate.
Oh my!
That
Roseanne, you know what?
With 9mm.
Roseanne is the most inspired choice.
Yes,
because she. Oh my God, that would
she'd be a monster.
Yeah, she would eat them
Let me
alive,
tell you
or they would eat her.
something.
Yeah, that is true though. You know, Kat, think about that choice. Like, would any sane person want that job at the View? Let's say you weren't working here, and they approached you, and they said, "We need like, you're not a Trumper, but let's say they wanted like an opposing perspective."
Well, it's just any kind of opposing perspective, right? Because the concern, I mean, it's there's no argument anymore on the View, right? I don't know why you want. I don't know why you want it.
Yeah, everybody.
are even joking about what The View might look like with completely different personalities. A few said bringing on controversial figures like Roseanne Barr or Candace Owens would be explosive, and probably a total disaster. The idea of Roseanne on The View made some people laugh, but also cringe. One person joked that she'd eat them alive if she ever joined the panel. It's a funny image, but it also shows just how tense things have gotten. Others are asking an honest question. Why?
Everyone has ancestors that did unspeakably horrible things. It's just that not everyone's ancestors have records tied to their DNA about it. But I'm more worried for Sunny Hostin's progeny in the future that do a DNA test and find out that they were related to a cast member of The View. And they're like, oh, it all makes so much sense now. Why I'm so stupid and fat. All right. Terrible.
Why would anyone in their right mind want to sit at that table? If you're someone with a different opinion, especially a conservative, 1. The View isn't exactly known for being welcoming. It's become more of a place where one perspective dominates and alternative voices are either silenced or pushed out. People remember when Meghan McCain was on the show. She clashed. with the others often and eventually left, clearly burned out. And it's not just the public who's concerned. Advertisers are getting nervous too. The show has faced scandals before, but this time might be different. Between audience frustration and companies pulling back support, the future of The View could depend heavily on what happens next. Critics aren't holding back either. Some say it's not about politics anymore, it's about fairness. The argument is that The View doesn't need fewer conservatives. It needs fewer hosts who constantly make sweeping statements about race and identity. Some people believe the show has leaned too far into one narrative and forgotten how to have balanced conversations. That's why the suggestion has been made to remove those who stir the pot too much. Some think hosts like Whoopi Goldberg and Sunny Hostin.
That's not true.
But you think about things that she said and how offensive they are.
Yeah.
Well, karma.
Yeah, it is karma. And that's coming from someone who's descended from the Keebler elves.
And have crossed the line too many times by making offensive generalizations. They argue it's time to clean house, take accountability, and bring in people who represent a broader range of views without attacking entire groups. At the same time, the media world is changing fast. Greg Gutfeld's takedown of the show, and especially of Sunny Hostin, caught fire online. It wasn't just a viral moment, it hit where it hurt. And now The View isn't looking so untouchable. Ratings are down, controversies are piling up, and more people are asking if this long-running show has finally run its course. So now the big decision falls to ABC. Will they step in and save The View with big changes? Or is this just the latest bump